So I hope you have all had an absolute great day, because today we have an absolute huge amount of salt to cover. From two distinct sources, one being the Xbox Developer Direct and the other being Palworld, because for some reason that game is incredibly popular right now. So what I'm thinking that we're gonna do is that we're gonna cover both of those in this video, while also keeping in mind that these may come up later in other videos because there is genuinely just a lot of salt. So we're gonna cover some of it here today, and my god is it very interesting. So where to begin? I think we're just gonna start off with the Xbox Developer Direct, as I do have some things to say about it and what I thought of it as a whole event, as to me it was not really good. And then after that we can move on to the related salt. I think one of the biggest issues with this event is that there was just no raw gameplay really giving us an idea of what the games are, just a lot of segmented parts showing us only the probably more interesting parts of the game, which is something that I just genuinely dislike. We probably ended up learning more about the actual fucking developers than the actual games. Like, the amount of time that they just spent showing us the developers and what they do instead of actual gameplay was pretty annoying. And when they did show gameplay for games like Avowed, it really didn't look too good, as the AI really didn't seem to do anything and the combat didn't really seem that engaging. And I think that is the one downside to showing off Avowed, as it really doesn't look like it was a game that was made to be like that and could have been changed last minute. But everything else about Avowed looked genuinely good, the graphics looked genuinely good, and that could be said for the same about all the games that were shown off at this Developer Direct. I just wish I could see more gameplay. But of course, there is only one more issue I had with this actual Developer Direct, and it was for a modern audience, which, you know, that really inspires hope for anything to do with indie going forward, you know. Really good way to make people invested into your game. Every time they hear modern audience, they jump with joy. Especially when this person is the one saying it. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to say about the Developer Direct. If you have anything or disagree and want to add something, go ahead, leave it in the comments. Let's begin with the salt, shall we? So our first tweet is from Unleashed. Associate anything with Xbox and watch it become irrelevant. Nothing touches the hype and craze of PlayStation exclusives. We are truly off to a very good start with this video. You are comparing a 3-month-old trailer with a game that is widely more popular, a franchise that is widely more popular, to a trailer that just released less than a couple hours ago. But at the same time, I didn't really know having a viewership of 500,000 made the game irrelevant. Oh, I didn't know that. I guess every time I look at indie game trailers that only get 30k views, oh, they must be irrelevant. But I do have to agree with you, somewhat hyped. But not for the reason that you may think it is. Yes, the viewership is genuinely low, but you're comparing a franchise that is well established and much better off than indie ever was. Because I'm sure we can all remember, indie isn't doing too well because of its recent movies. So I don't think many people have much hype behind the franchise, and you know, after hearing that it's being made for the modern audience, I don't have much faith in it either. You know what, Unleashed, what if I just humored you a bit? Like, just think about it right here. Imagine me putting Spider-Man 2 against another trailer that has a lot more views than it. And then I say Spider-Man 2 is irrelevant because it doesn't have enough views compared to this other thing. It really doesn't make any sense, Unleashed, does it? I will never understand how you get on Twitter every day just to shit-talk a platform that you don't even give a shit about. You know, it really wouldn't have as much traction as it does if you just didn't talk about it. Like, come on, even I can agree that Xbox isn't really pulling their weight anymore, and I have a lot of issues with the Xbox brand overall as more and more time goes on, but holy shit, you really need to stop talking about them. You're just free marketing. Our next tweet is from Hyped. There is no hype for Indiana Jones game lol. Less than 400k views so far. Yes, because a singular video's viewership determines whether or not a game has hype or not. Do I really have to talk about this again? Instead of actually offering any actual criticism towards the games, your immediate thought is whether or not it's performing better than a PlayStation game. Like, you could have looked at Avowed and said, hey look, the AI isn't doing too good. Will you, Obsidian, improve this? Maybe I'm just expecting a bit too much from you PlayStation fanboys, but then again, I expect too much from any fanboy to actually offer an actual competent argument. We have another tweet from Hyped. NPCs comparison, Horizon Forbidden West, PS4 versus Avowed Xbox Series X. Who did it better? Ah yes, compare a in-engine screenshot to a stream of some gameplay. Of course, those two things are very different, Hyped. You can't just put those together and expect to have a winning result. You're comparing two different techniques of a game engine in use. Don't get me wrong, I do like what I saw with Avowed's graphics. They genuinely looked up to date, pretty good looking. The color palette looks good, the texture work and lighting look genuinely good. Of course I have other issues with the game, but the graphics and texture quality are not the issue. And I think that can also be said for all the other games that Xbox had at the event, which all genuinely did look good for their art styles. I will never be able to understand why people care so much about graphics more than anything. To me, gameplay has always been one of the best things over everything else. This is why I play games like old school RuneScape, Destiny 1, and a lot of indie games like Outward, Factorio, and all these other things combined that do not have the best graphics, but have absolute brilliant gameplay. Our next tweet is from Red Dragon. So are we gonna talk about how the Xbox Direct had both multi-platform and a game not coming to Xbox consoles featured? Because Xbox doesn't really do exclusives anymore, you know, they're not really PlayStation, and plus, I would rather not have a console do exclusives anymore. That means more people get to play games. How many times I have to keep saying this? It's not some secret science. They want to make more money. Instead of competing through games, just compete with your hardware, what you can provide on that hardware through services, not individual games. If Game Pass was provided just on the console, that would be a genuinely good incentive to get the Xbox, but because the Xbox has gone to multiple different platforms, and most of the games that you can get on Xbox have gone there, except a very select few of exclusives, there's not really much point to get the console, and soon PlayStation will be doing the exact same thing. So don't you worry, Red Dragon. Soon every PlayStation game at the PlayStation showcases will all be featured on other platforms as well. We have another tweet from the Red Dragon. Hellblade 2. Scene 1, walking. Scene 2, walking. Scene 3, one enemy looks like a quick time event. Scene 4, walking. I'm not even making this up, I'm literally watching. Scene 5, walking. I don't know about you, Red Dragon, but that seems right up your alley for what a good exclusive looks like, you know, Spider-Man 2, Last of Us 2, all of the PlayStation exclusives have this as their formula, walking and cutscenes. You're telling me you don't like this when Xbox does it? I don't know, something seems wrong here. Our next tweet is from JDub. Xbox has no games in the first half of 2024. Shameful. Hashtag Xbox Fall 2024. Hashtag Xbox. JDub, are you high? Do you not think straight? Well, you're a fanboy, you never did think straight, but oh my god. Hellblade 2 comes out in the first half of the year. See, JDub? I was correct. It comes out in the first half of the year. So next time you say something, at least have the common decency to make sure what you're saying is right. Our next tweet is from the backlog. As of right now, I'm gonna have to say no roadmap is looking better than the Xbox roadmap. You're telling me you would prefer no games over getting some games. You know the Xbox showcase is coming later this year, and I'm hoping to see the Gears of War collection there, if that's even real. So if you don't like anything here, they might have something for you at that showcase. I would have never expected anyone to say that they would prefer no games over getting games. To me, that is just fucking strange. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to cover for the Developer Direct. I've covered my opinions, I've covered all the salt that I have for it, so I think it's time that we move on to Palworld, because I've also got developer salt alongside that PlayStation salt, because I do have some choice words for the developers that are crying about the game on Twitter, as I really do just want to make fun of them. Our next tweet is from Unleashed. Meanwhile, Xbox with clown makeup on, saying that Foam Stars is terrible, while Palworld is good. But can you see the difference, Unleashed? One is a copy of an already existing formula, the other one is a mishmash of multiple formulas combined into one. That is why the game is performing so well. If you can't realize that, you're a bit special. I can't name another game that has Pokemon, Factorio, and a bunch of other games like a bit of Ark in it, all combined into one game. Not many games can do that and do it flawlessly. Japan Hates Xbox said, Splatoon knockoff on PS5, not okay. Foam Stars, Pokemon knockoff on Xbox, Palworld, a phenomenon, and an instant hit. Seems to me once again Xbox fanboys have nothing to play. I don't know about you, Japan Hates Xbox, but it seems like a lot of people, including me, are getting to play this game and enjoying it, because when all the concepts come together to make a genuinely good experience, everyone wants to play it, and I get to watch developers cry, bitch and moan about how their AAA games don't do anything as good as this game can do. It should really say something that the industry is carried by indie games. And of course you have to mention that Xbox must have nothing to play when all you motherfuckers have been playing for the last year are both remakes of The Last of Us, or remasters, whatever you want to call them. You know, you're not really doing too much better yourself, are you? Our next tweet is from Dreamwalker. This means only 20% of the total player base of Palworld are on Xbox/PC Game Pass. This means 140k concurrent there. The game is $30 on Steam, but free for 29 million plus Game Pass subs on Xbox Cloud TV. The Xbox brand is irrelevant and beyond hope. That's why Microsoft is going third party. Of course, it's not going to have as many players, as the game was made from the ground up and is better on PC. I haven't played the console version and I have no plan to, but both versions are good. Of course, the console version has less stuff, but it's still playable and 20% is a relatively big number, regardless of it being purchased or on Game Pass. From when I last checked, it is in the top 3 on Xbox right now for most played games, so I guarantee it's more than 140k right now. And I guarantee they're still getting a huge amount of sales from console because not everyone, like me, don't use Game Pass anymore. And I've always given myself a rule when playing games. If I use a game and I enjoy it through Game Pass, I will more than likely buy myself a copy so I can play it whenever the fuck I want. And I'm sure a lot of other people would like to do that. Our next tweet is from Del Walker. My gut is telling me Palworld was made nefariously. I just have no proof, just a dev intuition. That's right, guys. When someone makes a game, they must be doing it for the most vile reasons. The people behind Palworld must be the biggest monsters known to man. If I ever saw them, I'll spit on them. Making a game is so difficult. They're cheating somehow. I just can't pinpoint how. That's right, guys. If I'm making a game, they must be cheating. That's so messed up. I wonder how they cheat to do that. What, use AI? Good, they should use AI. They should replace people like you, because people like you that develop games have to be the biggest crybabies on this fucking planet. Because someone or a group of people made a concept and combined a bunch of concept into one to make their own unique form of game that you didn't think of, they must be cheating somehow. Have a fucking cry. Take this from a fellow developer. I may not be a AAA developer like you. I'm someone that does it as a little personal hobby. Oh, and this doesn't just go to you, this goes to everyone else in all the other Discord servers that are also developers, crying and bitching about this game's success. How about you take inspiration like every other developer does when making their games? And if you guys didn't know, Del Walker is actually a developer at Naughty Dog. I know, what a real depressing thing. I bet you he was one of the guys bitching and complaining about Baldur's Gate 3's success. Also, he removed the Naughty Dog title from his name after getting criticized for his terrible thread of tweets. Yes, I did miss one of them if you've watched anyone else's PlayStation Fanboy or developer sold videos, because he deleted his thread. I may just be a little shitposty modder that does Skyrim mods, but holy shit, stop fucking bitching and complaining, you fucking crybaby. You make walking simulators for games and think they're top quality. When the only good thing about your games is that they're genuinely a good visual masterpiece, but actual gameplay-wise, nah, not really that good. Over the last couple of years, I've genuinely lost a lot of respect for individual developers because they have some of the most horrendous and dogshit takes when it comes to games. They get so butthurt and upset when some other developer or other company makes a good game and they weren't responsible for making it. They did the exact same thing with Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate, and now they're doing it with Palworld. So I really have no sympathy for you if you get your job taken from you by a fucking AI, because it's probably going to do a better job than you. They don't act as entitled. Oh, that's right, they're not given the choice to act. They sit there and do their job. Well, that's pretty much all the salt I had. I could have covered a couple more developers, but I would have just said the exact same thing over and over again like I already haven't done that, so I guess I'll just leave it here. I'm gonna get back to playing some more Palworld, and I'll see you all in the next video.